Good day everyone. I, Thunderdeep Abrigoso, will going to report the critique on the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, Republic Act number 10354, also known as RH Law. Lesson objectives. This module discusses background, rationale, silent prevention, and potential impacts of the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or RA 10354, also known as RH Law. This module also discusses the pros and cons of the said law. At the end of this module, you should be able to understand fully the background, rationale, silent prevention, and potential impacts of the Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or RA 10354, and have a stand position or whether she agrees disagrees on the existence and legality of the said law. Introduction. As you will notice, it is quite common for your grandparents to have seven or eight siblings. Some even have more. This is not the commonplace nowadays, as most couples settle for 2 or 3 kids. This is why most of have few siblings, unlike previous times. Next is rationale of the RH law. The Responsible Parenthood and Reproductive Health Act of 2012, or RA 10354, also known as the RH law, was primarily enacted on a vision that the poor will have access to reproductive health goods and services which they cannot afford. And, and with this law, the poor will likely have sufficient access to information about the proper use of effectiveness of these RH products. Apparently, the failure of the market of RH goods and services to reach marginalized women compelled the Philippine government to step in the initiate measure to address this occurrence. However, RH law was depicted by paintings of promoting abortion and abortifacient products, though sinful and frowned upon by the Catholic Church. Uh, Church. Next is the elements of RH law. This The elements of the recent enacted law are as follows. First is family planning information services, material infant and child health and nutrients including breastfeeding, prevention of abortion and management of post-abortion complications, adolescents and youth reproductive health, guidance and counseling, prevention and management of reproductive tract infections or RTE, HIV/AIDS and STIs, elimination of VOC and other forms of sexual and GBV, education and counseling on sexuality and reproductive health, treatment of breast and reproductive tract cancers and other gynecologic condition and disorder, male responsibilities and involvement of men's RH disorder, prevention, treatment, and management of infertility and sexual dysfunction, RH education for the adolescents, and mental health aspects of reproductive health care. Next is silent prevention. First, midwives for skilled birth attendants. The law mandates every city of municipality to employ an adequate number of midwives and other skilled attendants. Emergency obstetric care. Each province and city shall ensure the establishment and operation of hospital which adequate the facilities and qualified personnel that provide emergency obstetric care. Hospital-based family planning. The law requires family planning service like legislation, vasectomy, and an intrauterine device placement to be available in all government hospitals. Contraceptives as essential medicine. Reproductive health products shall be considered essential medicine and supplies and shall form part of national drug formality. Reproductive health education. RH education shall be taught by adequately trained teachers in age appropriate manner rather. Employers' responsibilities. Employees shall respect the reproductive health rights of all their workers. Women shall not be discriminated against in the matter of hiring, regulation of employment status, or selection of retrenchment. Employees shall provide free reproductive health service and education to workers. Capability building of community-based volunteer workers. Community-based workers shall undergo additional and updated training on the delivery of reproductive health care service and shall receive not less than 10% increase in honorary upon successful completion of training. Prohibited acts. The law also provides for penalties for persons who perform certain prohibited acts such as the following: knowingly, with malicious intent, withholding or impeding the dissemination of information about the programs and service provided for in this act, or intentionally giving out incorrect information. Refusing to perform voluntary ligation of vasectomy and other legal and medically safe reproductive health care services on any person of legal age on the ground of lack of spousal consent or authorization. Refusing to provide reproductive health care service to an abused minor and or an abused pregnant minor whose condition is certified to by an authorized DSWD official or personnel, even without parental consent, particularly when the parent concerned is the perpetrator. Refusing to extend reproductive health care services and information on account of their patient's civil status, gender, or sexual orientation and age, religion, personal circumstances, and not unnatural work. Provided that all consensus objections of health or care service provides based on religious grounds shall be respected. Provide further that the consensus objector shall immediately refer the person seeking such care of service to another healthcare service provider within the same facility or one of its conveniently accessible. Provide final that the patient is not an emergency or serious case as defined as a RA 8344, penalizing the refusal of hospital of medical claims to administer appropriate initial medical treatment and support the emergency of serious case, and requiring a female applicant or employees as a condition of employment or condition employment to involuntarily undergo sterilization, tubal ligation, or any other form of contraceptive method. The long political battle talks about a unified productive health policy have been roaming the spheres of the Philippine government way back the 1960s with the circulation of Population Commission as a measure of population control to manage high fertility rates of the alleviate poverty. Henceforth, the backlash of the CBCP was unrelenting. The Arch Law, which has finally enacted in 2012, was a product of 14 years struggle after the enhancement and enactment lapses of this law thought that victory was already achieved. However, in March 2013, the law was challenged before the EC of the Philippines, delaying its fulfillment implementation. A year after, the law was held valid except to the clauses therein that allowed minors to access reproductive health service without the written consent of guardian and penal measures for government officials who did not implement the law. In 2015, a further temporary restraining order, TRO, is used again by the nation's EC prevent the Food Drug Administration or FDA of the Philippines from procuring, distributing, or issuing new certificates of product registration on more than 50 different contraceptives, allowing many licenses to eventually expire. The TRO was launched after FDA registered a contraceptive implant called Implanon, which accordingly could be used to induce abortion. After 2 years of the said TRO and FDA then certified that Implanon and Implanon NXT is not abortifacients. With the TRO finally lifted, the Department of Health now fairly distributes contraceptives that their regional office and various NGOs.